Hey, Jim Toscano here, and welcome to the Monday night live stream at 2 o'clock in the afternoon because we usually stream at 7 p.m. on Mondays. But welcome to the show. I have a special guest today who is coming to us from far away. So that's why we're streaming nice and early. As you know, every once in a while I'll stream at 11 or 2, depending on what part of the world my guest is from. Just a real quick I want to mention my companies, Vader, Prologix, Offset, Sabian, Black Magic Designs. And I also want to mention that in the next two live streams, next week and the week after, we're doing Prologix practice pad giveaways. So we have Gary Husband on the show, and we're going to be giving away his favorite pad, which is an 8-inch blackout pad. And then Russ Miller is going to be on the show, and we're giving away his all-in-one pad. So we're doing some giveaways, and those details will be posted on Facebook and Instagram and all the social platforms. And also, if you get a moment, click on the QR code to my mailing list, and there's a QR code to my link tree. And yeah, follow me on social media. And if you feel so inclined, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll really appreciate that. I'm going to shut off my heat so it doesn't bleed into the microphone because I think the fan is blowing into my mic. So my guest today, and this is a very talented young lady who is an up-and-coming drummer from Poland. And I first heard about her as she was the Hit Like a Girl contest winner for the 18 to 25 age category in 2021. And we almost met at PASIC this past year, and just passing in the hall and being inside of logistics and talking with drummers, but it didn't happen. So I'm so glad that we're doing this today. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. So her name is Wiktoria Bialic. She's from Poland, and she right now is touring with a show called Kora, who is Ralph Kaminsky and the Kora Project in Poland. They're playing some amazing venues. I've been following her on social media. And she also plays with Maria Sadowska and a bunch of other artists that we're going to get into, but a couple, Kartik Shah and Andrei Pivek. And these are folks from all over the globe. So she's reaching people globally, to use the Dom Famularo reference. She's reaching people globally. Here's Dom for you. You ready? All right, here's my Dom sound clip.
I don't know. I play the drums. I like Italian food. I like to fish.
There you go. I have Dom on my Elgato Stream Deck. So, and there's a lot of good upcoming things going on. I want you to follow Wiktoria on social media. She's posting a lot of really cool video clips. And I will say, and we'll talk about this, that her video clips captivated me because she's so excitable and happy in her playing, and it's infectious. And so without any further ado, my guest, Wiktoria Bialic. How you doing?
Hi, I'm great. Thanks for having me.
So great to have you on the show. I'm going to pull you into the center here. There we go. I'm doing a little camera adjustment while we speak. So great to have you on the show. I know it's 8 p.m. where you are right now in Poland.
Exactly.
And tell me, what was your day like today? What was your day all about?
So basically, right now I have a lot of days off because I also study drums at the University of Music, and I passed all exams. So right now I have thank you, I have small break. And also I have 1 week break because of the tour. So I will back to my tour with Ralph next week. So basically, today I woke up at 7 a.m. and I ate breakfast, and then I was practicing on drums. And basically, my day is every day is the same kind of.
Yeah.
I'm looking for sounds. I practice something specific or for recording studio, etc. So basically, every day is the same kind of for me. It's all about drums because I really love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's our story, is that we get up and the first thing we're doing after breakfast and all this good stuff, and us having tea, right? You're drinking your Chinese oolong tea. I'm having my
Yeah,
my gunpowder
exactly.
green tea. Um, we get to the drums, right? So we get our hands
Yeah.
going. And what specifically did you work on today, if you could think of it?
Yeah, so today I was practicing on this kind of like trap and hip hop stuff,
Yeah,
and I was looking for this kind of like that sound of my snare drum. I would like to experimenting with my bass drum because I would like to add more compression to create this kind of like hip hop experimenting sound of my bass drum. And also I was working today on rock stuff because I really want to show people that I can play a different kind of music. So I'm trying to feel comfortable playing this kind of more energetic stuff and etc. So basically, today I was practicing on sounds, on different styles. Yeah.
nice. Are you trying to create the bass drum sounds organically just from the bass drum, or are you doing triggering as well? Um,
Mhm.
yeah, with electronics as well.
I never use triggers and samples
Okay.
because I really want to tune it in a different way, my drums, and then I can add more like EQ or compression, but never triggers and samples. Yeah, it's harder to achieve this kind of sounds, but I think people will said, yeah, it's a great job, to create this kind of sounds without using electronics. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I actually, um, I just changed out on my recording set behind me to
Okay.
from a 24-inch kick down to a 22-inch kick because I'm doing two different artists at the same time. So one is
Awesome.
very progressive rock, big
Yeah.
sounding, so I use the 24, and then I'm doing a jazz
Yeah.
fusion project, which our record just came out, and I'm playing more punchy kind of
Yeah.
sound. So, but I use two different microphones on the kick drum to try to achieve that, right? And I use
Sure.
the thing called the Kelly shoe. Do you know about the Kelly shoe?
Oh no.
It's an internal shock mounted bass drum system. I'll send you a link. And so I have that in all of my bass drums. So I just put another one in this bass drum, and it makes
Okay.
the microphone float in the center. So it's not attached to anything, it's
Mm-hmm.
just floating.
Okay.
And for the internal mic, and then for the external mic, I use a
Awesome.
stand, a different thing. But yeah, we could talk about bass drum miking probably for 3 hours.
Sounds,
um,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's true. I love this kind of like studio stuff and mics. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. I've been also
Awesome.
experimenting with the big fat snare drum rings, using different
Okay.
ones for different tracks. So um,
Mm.
I did a little breakbeat track recently where I used the big fat snare drum ring with the little tambourine jingles on it,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
it's pretty nice. It sounds really cool. Um,
yeah.
so
Awesome.
I saw that post, by the way, of you saying trap drums from Instagram, I think this morning, that you posted a
Yeah,
little something, right? So,
exactly.
so people should definitely check out the videos that you're making over on social media because,
Thank you.
you're keeping that going. By the way, the studio that you're recording in is a really cool room, that big brick room with the very tall ceilings, right? And
Exactly.
is that a studio that you rent or are you involved with the studio? How does that work?
It's sad, but unfortunately, this recording studio is not mine.
Yeah,
So I book recording studio and I rent. I have like great price and etc.
good.
But I decided that for me it will be better to rent, for example, this kind of place because it's cheaper for me,
Yeah.
and I really care about quality and I have access to different mics and etc. Is great room, and we know that for drums. Uh, Space and room is absolutely important. So we have like you said, I have the wood and etc. So this kind of aspect is great for sounds and for drums. So basically that's why I decided that it will be better for me right now to maybe to rent a recording studio than build my recording studio, because it's not cheap thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's absolutely expensive to add all the gear into your space, which I've done slowly over time, built my recording space. But
Awesome.
so the space that you rent, you said, is about 15 minutes from your house.
Exactly. Yeah.
So do you go there to do your practicing as well, or is this only for video and audio recording?
Always only for video and for recording sessions. I practice here because right now I'm at home.
Yeah.
So I have this place where I can practice every day. I'm very thankful to my parents that they said, okay, you can practice here because this kind of instrument is not yeah, it's kind of like loud a lot.
Just a
And
little bit.
so but they are okay with that. So yeah, I'm just going to the recording studio when I want to record something, yeah, and add.
Nice. Very good. Yeah, my mother every once in a while will pop in on the chat during the stream. And I always talk about when I was a kid, she liked hearing me practice because she knew I was home and I was safe. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So like living in New York, especially in the 80s, dating
Mm,
myself. So, she was worried if I was out running around in the
yeah,
city. And so
I
if I
know.
was home practicing, and my mother worked at night as a nurse, so she would sleep during the day, but she
Mhm.
didn't mind me practicing even though she was sleeping because she knew I was in the house. so
Okay.
so very supportive
Yeah,
parents for both of us, right?
absolutely. Yeah.
So I'm gonna jump into your story like kind of from the beginning a little bit, but I do want to mention that for your companies, you're a Gretsch endorser, which is awesome. I play Tama, but I love Gretsch
Okay.
drums, and when I was younger, I did have my share of Gretsch drums. And a
Mm,
good friend of mine who was on the show recently has uh, it's called the Dave Clive Gretsch Museum in Brooklyn.
okay.
So he's a Gretsch collector. So he's very excited that you are a Gretsch player. So I mentioned that on social this morning. And
Wow.
what
I
brought you
didn't know
to
that.
play? What made you pick Gretsch anyway? I'm just curious. Oh, my camera.
Um, to be honest, I chose Cratch because when I had 18th birthday, my parents really want to buy me something special because of my birthday, and they decided that they really want to buy me a professional drums, and it was renowned Gretsch, and still have this kit. It was like small sizes. It was like 18 bass drum, 10 tom, and I think 13 or 14. It was a kind of like jazzy drums,
Like a little
small
bop kit.
sizes. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And to be honest, I fell in love because of the Gretsch, this kind of like unique sound. And right now I have Broadcaster is maple, poplar maple, is a free play shell,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like vintage, but also like modern sound you can achieve. Um, and also one of my favorite drummers play on Gretsch, and they are with Gretsch. So I always admire them, and I was always looking what kind of gear they use and etc. And yeah, I'm really proud to be with Gretsch. But to be honest, I didn't add this information on my social media because I'm still finding with myself, because I feel that with Gretsch, but I saw this huge list of endorsers
Yeah.
because Gretsch have a lot of legendary drummers, and I feel that I'm so happy, but I feel sometimes that I'm not great for Gretsch because I'm not legendary drummer. So I'm still finding with myself, and I'm not adding this information on my social media because I feel like, oh my god, a lot of mega drummers they are with Gretsch, and I'm still working and etc. And I'm with Gretsch, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, give yourself time. You have lots of
Yeah,
time to become a legendary drummer. You're nice and
yeah,
young. You're taking, you're doing everything correct. You're practicing, you're studying, you're writing, you're touring, you're doing all the right things. So give yourself a little more credit, you know?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. All right, cool. So I want to ask you, what planted the seed in your mind to even begin playing at
Mhm.
all? What was the first moment like, oh my God, drums. I want that. I want to do that.
Sure. So to be honest, my adventure with music have been started with violin.
Ah,
Because my parents decided to take me to music school. And when I was like 6 or 7, I didn't have knowledge what kind of instrument it will be the best for me. So I chose violin. But after 5 years, I decided that it was terrible. The worst violin player, it was like terrible. Uh, yeah, I wasn't great. So, but I always feel this kind of like rhythm when I'm back from music school. I was like clapping different rhythms and etc. So I said to my mom that, you know what, I feel that I need to change instrument because I feel drums it will be great for me. But my parents said, okay, Victoria, we are supportive, we are with you, and etc. So I changed instruments, and I was shocked because music school in Poland is kind of like maybe different than in different countries because it's called drums, but I played on marimba, vibraphone, timpani, snare drum. So during 12 years of my music school, I didn't play on drums.
so you were playing
So
all the percussion instruments,
yeah, it
but
was
not
all
on drum
about,
set.
yeah, exactly. It was all about classical music.
Wow.
Yeah. So basically, I'm every day when I was back to my home, my parents bought me a drum set, and I was like practicing. I was listening to my favorite records, songs, and I was playing with my favorite records. And to be honest, nobody taught me how to play on drums. Right now, I have teachers because I study drums and etc. I had like this kind of like private lessons, but my teachers only teach me how to play rudiments on drums and etc. And when I was like 10 or 11, for me, sorry to say it, but it was kind of like boring thing. Just
Yeah.
practicing rudiments on drums. I didn't understand why this kind of stuff is important, etc. I had only one dream. It was just play a song on drums.
Right.
Yeah, and they showed me just rudiments. So after a few months, I said like goodbye to my teachers, and I was just playing on drums. Yeah, with my songs.
Right, right. Oh my goodness. And
Yeah.
so what songs did you gravitate towards, or what artists did you gravitate towards when you first actually got to play some drums?
Um. It was different records. For example, like James Brown or Bob Marley,
Oh, cool.
All Green Records. Yeah, this kind of like different genre. To be honest, it was always kind of interesting for me to listen to different artists, to different genre, and to be honest, this kind of like legendary records, this kind of like more value, I think, records than
Yeah.
maybe today's music. Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah.
uh,
I had James Gadsden on the show not that long ago, and he played on those early Bill Withers records, and
yeah,
just
I'm a big
incredible.
fan of him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, such a great drummer. By the way, that interview is really nice because I got a whole bunch of drummers to do a tribute to him, and
Okay.
so
Wow.
they recorded themselves saying what he meant to them, and I
Mhm.
sent him all the videos, and it was just so nice and like heartfelt and really
Yeah,
beautiful. Yeah.
I
So
believe.
and James
Awesome.
James is 82 now and living in LA, and so
Yeah.
over Christmas I sent him an enormous box of cookies from Ralph Roll. Do you know Ralph Roll, the drummer? He's
Oh no.
he's the drummer from Chic, and Chic is like Nile Rodgers and Chic. It's like the classic disco from the
Yeah.
states, you know, and Chic was huge, and Ralph Roll is their drummer and their touring drummer.
Hmm.
So, but he owns a cookie company, so we sent cookies
Ah,
from
okay.
Ralph Roll to James Gadson in LA. Yeah, super fun.
Hesitated.
So, so what would you say? You gravitated towards some of the classics, right?
Yeah.
And now, kind of, where has your musical journey taken you? Are you still really deep into the roots, or are you starting to listen to more, you know, modern stuff, or a mix of everything? Where's your listening taste going these days?
Um, I'm trying to focus on this kind of both sides because modern music right now we observe that this kind of like trap, hip hop stuff is kind of like very popular in my country right now. Hip hop is kind of like very successful genre.
Yeah,
So I'm trying to deep more and dig it this kind of stuff and trying to understand what kind of message they have. Um, but also on the other hand, I'm trying to really focus on this kind of like legendary records because I'm trying to understand sounds and what kind of drummers. What kind of drums parts they create and etc. What kind of message they had and etc. So I'm trying to focus on both uh, modern and maybe I would call like old school or vintage music.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
because we have a lot of messages I think in this kind of like old school and legendary records. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Um, I noticed that you did a little track with Ash Son,
Oh yeah.
which is pretty amazing. Dark Dark Days by Black
Yeah.
Dog All Stars, and so how was that like working with Ash?
Oh, it was mega, and the story is kind of funny because when I started this kind of thing with Instagram, I was looking for play-alongs because I'm not huge fan of playing covers
Yeah,
because I think right now we have a lot of covers and I don't know if you agree with me, Jim, but sometimes when I watch Instagram and I'm scroll, I'm saw a lot of videos, drum videos, and sometimes they sounds the same.
yeah,
And after 10 drummers, I didn't remember the first one. So that's why I'm not a big fan of playing covers, to be honest. So that's why I was looking for play-alongs and I found on Ash website that he added some new play along,
yeah.
and it was a song produced by Sean Janoki. And I decided like, okay, it's a great challenge for me because it's kind of like rocky vibe. I didn't play this kind of rock stuff, so I decided that okay, I will record this song in the recording studio. I recorded drums, then I add to recording studio and I mentioned that this song was produced by Sean Janoki, and Sean gave me like thumbs up and sent me a message that right now he composed new song and he had the idea to create this song for two drummers and he asked me like, Victoria, you want to be a part of it? And I was like, absolutely, because to be honest, it was my one of the first song that I recorded for somebody from different country. And he mentioned that the second drummer it will be Ash Sean, and I was like, no, it's a joke, Sean, please, you know. please tell me true, not a joke. And he was like, no, it's true. I called to Ash, and he was like, yeah, we have to do this. Yeah, it's mega, absolutely. And then I recorded drums. Then Ash recorded drums, and right now we have this track, Dark Days, for two drummers. So yeah, it was incredible to be a part with Ash. Ash is like incredible drummer. He's like legendary drummer. So
Yeah.
it was also shock for me that he said yes, because I'm like young and etc. So I was shocked, but he's really nice, and I think everything is impossible. Yeah, so it was incredible, and it's like to be honest, it's like a real honor for me, being a part of this kind of production.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So great. And
yeah,
a great learning experience, but also a
yeah,
great way of connecting with people. And
it's
you know,
true.
you have to in this business, it really is a people business. You have to be connecting with
Yeah,
people constantly, and don't be afraid to connect with your heroes, because we're,
absolutely.
as we said in the pre-hang, you know,
Yeah,
drummers, we're a weird little family. Like we're all connected somehow. And
true.
some of my heroes that I've asked to be on the show, like Billy Cobham. I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
wow.
I figured, oh, I'll ask him. He'll probably say no, and he was like, yeah, man. So he was on twice on the show. So crazy.
Anything is like possible.
By the
Yeah,
way, Ash, man, he gets such a great sound out of the Windmill Studio that he
yeah,
has. Oh my goodness. Like talk about, being prolific with sound and working with his environment that he has there. It's just incredible. And he's really
true.
been experimenting with, some people are calling it drunk beats, but like the quintuplet swing and the Dilla
Yeah,
swing, right? So he's been really
yeah,
getting into the Dilla swing thing. And speaking
yeah,
of the Dilla swing, I had Daru Jones on recently, and
yeah.
Daru is like just,
It's awesome.
you know, he's kind
Yeah,
of he's sort of the living godfather of that stuff now, kind of, right?
yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Yeah, I agree. But I don't know if you know that. I visited the windmill.
you did?
Uh, yeah, it was
Oh,
like 3 years ago.
that's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, because I have this kind of also crazy story with Ash, because I added on Instagram another his play along, and he commented me. It was like, Victoria, your sounds great, and etc. And the next day I saw poster on Facebook, and it was like, uh, it next month it will be drum festival in Poland, and the main guest it will be Ashon. And I
Wow.
was like, no, this is the sign, I have to go. I bought a ticket. I went to this drum festival in Poland with my dad. I met Ash. He recognized me because of this video.
Right.
And yeah, and I had a privilege to speak with Ash. Only 5 minutes, but it was great, and he was so nice. He was so supportive for me, and etc. He was like, Victoria, keep going. Good things will happen. Work hard, be patient, and etc. And one day I really want to visit London, because I was never in England before. And I wrote a message to Ash like, Ash, I will be with my brother in England. Can we visit a windmill, because it's our big dream, and etc. And he was like, yeah, Victoria, doors are open, so let me know
Wow.
when you want to come, and we can hang out. And basically I planned everything. I visited a windmill, and it was incredible. I saw this kind of gold disc from Adele. I saw a lot of drums, microphones. This studio, it's kind of like incredible place, and I'm still waiting, because maybe this year Ash will organize drum camp.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I really recommend to follow his windmill studio. It's called Weekends, something like this. And he has a plan to organize this kind of like workshop about recording stuff, microphones, and etc. Yeah, really looking to hang out, and I hope it will be happened this year. Yeah, so this is
Wow.
my story with Ash. Is kind of like, a big dream and etc. So yeah, but it was like one of the best day in my life, to be honest. Yeah.
See, but you put yourself out there and you're not afraid to ask, and you asked and it worked out, right? So it's
Yeah,
really pretty incredible. Yeah. And it's just a
exactly.
testament to, you know, the harder you work and the more that you connect with people, the luckier you seem to get, right? You get more things start to happen because you're putting yourself out there. Um,
Yeah.
I put some quote on Facebook about this today, like some quote about, you can't be afraid to ask. You have
Yeah,
to just go up to your heroes in this
absolutely.
case. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's amazing seeing his studio because what he's
Yeah,
producing out of there is just unbelievable.
it's
Um,
true, absolutely.
so
But
yeah,
also, sorry, Jim,
no,
I
no.
would like to add that what you mentioned, that communication is it's so important because, for example, during my University of Music, nobody told me that this kind of stuff is so important. Basically, I just learned by myself, and I think top of the list is kind of like communication. And when I was at the PASIC, the drum festival in Indianapolis,
Yeah,
everyone told me about this kind of communication and etc. But for example, in my country, nobody mentioned about this kind of stuff. Yeah,
right, right. Yeah, and you know, going to these festivals now, see all the contacts that you're making. I mean, and also Hit Like a Girl, that was really smart that you put yourself out there in Hit Like a
yeah,
Girl. And it worked out for you. You won, you got to perform. So all this stuff, it's all interconnected. So how about as far as studying privately with anybody now? Are you studying with any of your heroes now, or maybe somebody that specializes in a certain thing that you're going after? Like any,
yeah. So.
yeah, yeah, private
Uh,
private lessons kind of thing.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't have right now like private lessons
Hmm.
because I have two teachers during my University of Music.
Oh, right,
They specialize in jazz, so I think also is great for me because it's not my cup of tea, to be honest. This kind of genre, because it's I think I need to be more mature for this kind of stuff to understand message, improvisation, etc. I'm trying to dig more and etc. But still, it's kind of like hard for me to play comfortably. But it's great because they are really one of the best jazz drummers in my country. So they focus on more different stuff for me because I really love like grooves and etc. But they really want to for me to be versatility drummer. So I think it is great for me. But I also I watch every day a lot of drum videos. I analyze some records and etc. So it's also great lesson for me every day, to listen to music and etc. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, that's great. By the way, I'm just going to mention that I keep
yeah.
switching to your camera, and I'm just telling our audience this. I keep switching to your camera very, very often, which is great anyway. But my my camera seems to have an issue. So, what's
Oh,
funny? What's funny is, as I was telling you in the pre-hang, that
yeah.
I had a photographer working here, and he changed the setting on my camera, and I can't in the moment get this fixed. But I'm known as like the technology drummer. Like I help a lot of drummers with their tech setup. So I'm having
Hmm.
technical issues myself. But luckily I have a scene set up in my show where I can just switch to your camera, and then I turn my
Okay.
camera back on, and then I turn it back off. So even though you're not seeing me at times, Victoria,
Okay.
we're
Yeah.
working it out on the other side. So just a little
Okay.
behind the scenes for everybody. By the way, um, we're like a half hour in, so usually I like to just check on the chat and see if anybody has any questions. If not yet, then we'll keep talking. And I have, I'm sure, one or two of my students are hanging with us today. But
Hi,
so Lucia Seminara saying hello, asking how you're
hi.
doing.
I'm
Lucia is
great.
a
Thank
young
you.
Lucia is a young female student of mine who lives
Hmm.
here in New York, and she's she's working on playing cascara with left foot
Oh, wow.
clave, um, and doing 2-3 rumba clave, 2-3 son clave, 3-2
Wow.
rumba clave, 3-2 son clave, with her foot now playing clave and playing cascara on
My
the bell.
God.
So she's a young student who's very enthusiastic and works really hard. So super fun. So
Great.
I made sure she was watching you today. And
Awesome.
Murray Piper is with us today. Murray's a good friend of mine, another drum instructor. I don't know if you
Hi.
met him in Indianapolis, but he was at
Um,
PASIC. He was on the panel with me. We spoke about technology, and so
nice.
Murray and I shared the panel. And Dave Clive from Dave Clive's Gretchen Museum is hanging with us, saying hi.
Wow.
So
Hi.
if Victoria, if you have any questions about any Gretsch drums, Dave knows everything about Gretsch.
Okay.
um, Lu-
Great to know it.
Lucia says, "Who is one of your biggest inspirations as a drummer?"
Oh, thank you. Thank you for this question. To be honest, one of my favorite drummers and one of the biggest inspiration is obviously it's not a big secret, but Sean.
Yeah,
But also Aaron Sterling.
yeah, yeah,
He's like session drummer. I really admire his videos, his approach to drums, sounds, and etc. But also, I really like James Gatson, Bernard Purdy. Um, yeah, a lot of like this kind of like groovy drummers
yeah.
because they are also always for songs, and I really love songs. Yeah, so this kind of like groovy drummers, I really admire them. Yeah.
Nice, great answer. Kenji, Kenji, how you doing? So glad you're hanging out. Kenji
Hi.
Tajima hanging with us, and he said that he loves watching your videos and that your joy really translates through your playing. That's what I was mentioning earlier, is
Thank
that
you.
you look so joyful when you're playing.
Yeah.
So I love that, and I think that's really important. Really, as drummers, sometimes we could be super hyper focused and
Yeah.
it translates in our face, right? Where some drummers never look happy, just grimace, focus, right? But if
I
you
know.
remember to stop and smile once in a while, it really connects you
Yeah.
to the people,
Sure.
right? So I even saw one of your videos where you were concentrating real heavy on a groove and
Yeah.
then you went to the ride and you were still really concentrated and then you looked up at the camera and gave a nice smile and it's in that instance you connect to people, it's so important. so
It's
um
true.
so it's really
Yeah.
wonderful. And
And I saw this kind of like comments like, Victoria, where is your smile? Something is wrong with this video.
oh, that's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a good reminder for us, right, that we get super in our heads and we have to
That's true.
be in the moment and why we do this because we love it. We feel that
Yeah.
joy. So,
Yeah.
and I whenever
It's
I'm
all about
teaching,
passion.
yeah, yeah. And whenever I'm teaching, I always refer to teaching as spreading the joy, right? Because that's what it's about. It's a joyful thing.
You're a
Lucia
great
had
teacher.
a follow up question. Lucia said, "What is it like being a well known female drummer in a male dominated community?" Which, by the way, um, I think that it's starting to blur the lines because
Yeah.
there's a lot of really great female drummers out there. And so I like to just say it's just all drummers at this point, but she is right. It is still sort of male dominated, right? So
Yeah. It's
what's
true.
your take on that? What's your take on that?
Yeah, to be honest, I have a lot of my friends, like female musicians, and one day we talk about it, and they said that sometimes for them it's like frustrating, and said that they are not a huge part of music industry and etc. But for me, it's like uh, I'm trying to think in a positive way because I think still being a female in music industry is something unique,
Yeah.
but I feel sometimes that I have to practicing more and more because I'm female, because I have to improve that I'm not just looking great and I have skills and etc. But for me, it's like kind of motivation right now. I'm not focusing on I have to improve something. I'm just focused on drums. I really love it and etc. So to be honest, I'm trying to think just about positive things
Yeah.
because it's something I think being a female musician is something unique and special. And I think the situation in music industry is changing because a lot of right now artists they have like just female bands, like
Yeah.
for example like Olivia Rodriguez or Harry Styles. They have a lot of female musicians, and I think the situation is kind of like changing. I'm still observing that this kind of like session world, being a female musician, it's kind of like not popular, but I'm trying to break this rule.
Yeah.
And really one of my biggest dream is like being a session musician because I'm looking for history, and we don't have a lot of like session drummers and etc. We have a lot of male and etc. So I'm trying to break this rule right now and in the
Nice.
future. But yeah, we have I think a lot of positive things and etc. So I'm trying to focus on just positive things. Yeah,
Yeah, I think also organizations like Hit Like a Girl are
yeah, it's true.
bringing more opportunities,
Yeah,
especially just even in the way that the social media is handled, it brings
mhm,
more attention to drummers, and the female drumming community
yeah,
on
it's
Instagram is just really tight.
yeah,
I don't know if you know Janine Fox, but
yeah. I know.
she's really trying to connect women and girls, and she's been very supportive. So there's a few women out there that are really thinking about it and thinking
Yeah.
forward. Um, and then there's of course the greats that we have, like Cindy Blackman is just
Oh yeah.
unbelievable, and Annika is playing
Yeah.
so great. So there's such great musicians right now. So I think you're right. The mold is being broken, and
Yeah.
maybe more opportunities are starting to, come forward. And
Mhm.
I was asked to be a judge on Hit Like a Girl this year. I'm very excited about that. And there's just such talent coming out, So, and, again, props to you for winning. So
Thank you.
what a great thing, right? So didn't you also did one other um, you were a finalist on the 2020 Percussive Arts Society drum set competition, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so,
But the competition in 2020, they are canceled because of the pandemic.
so it's online, right?
No,
Oh,
no, they cancel all drum competition because they really want to. So the idea for this drum competition, it was like to fly to Indianapolis and
right.
play live, and they decided that online competition is not a great idea
Oh,
for them, so they canceled. And but this year they send us information that we can again send video for this competition. So right now I'm just waiting for results, so maybe in June I have to fly to Indianapolis, who knows.
that would be
I'm still
amazing.
waiting for results. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, if you wind up flying through New York to go to Indianapolis, look me up.
absolutely,
We'll get some
absolutely,
lunch. We'll talk drums. We'll nerd out on drummers.
awesome.
um, so so with your story, jumping back into the story now,
Yeah,
you went to um, music school, basically studying percussion, and
yeah.
then finally were able to get into playing drums and get a drum set, and started to learn songs. And then, so did that go through your high school years, sort of like before university?
Oh yeah, because um, one I think situation was important for me because my teacher from my music school, his dream it was like to create a kind of like jazz trio, and he asked me because I was the only drum students who focus also on drums. So it was in high school time. So it was my kind of like first band with
Yeah.
my teacher and with my friend. And then it was like again and still I playing songs at home and etc. And then I decided that I think classical music it's not for me. I was great at it because I'm very organized person and etc. Sometimes I'm workaholic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I practice like 8 or 9 hours per day on this kind of like classical instruments because we have a lot of like marimba, vibraphone, timpani. So it was a lot stuff to working on. So that's why a lot of hours I spent in music school. I didn't have time to hang out with my friends. I didn't have time, to go to parties and etc. But sometimes this is like life for musicians. um but then I decided that like I need to go and study drums, not classical music, because I didn't want to be like teacher at the school, or I didn't want to be a part of orchestra. So that's why I decided to study drums. Yeah.
Oh, my camera's back. Good.
Us-
um, so yeah, that one took a long time. So so as far as what was your first band of just friends, like without the teacher, like just a band where maybe you did your first gigs, perhaps. So what would that have been?
Basically, it was like 1 year ago.
Okay.
Right now, I'm 22. So when I was 21, I had this kind of like professional gig at the big concert hall and etc. And it was kind of like a big deal for me
Yeah.
because I'm still studying drums, and being a musician and have this kind of like opportunity to playing with other and more experienced musicians is kind of like great for everybody. So for me it was like big dream and big deal, being a part of band. And this kind of artist is kind of like huge in Poland. His name is Ralph Kamiński. So I'm really glad, and I'm still working hard, to be a great band member.
So
Yeah.
that's your first gig is with the Ralph Kaminsky project?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wow, that's so great. I mean, it's current. I mean, this is what you're doing now. So this is
Yeah,
great.
because right now it's kind of like tour for 6 months, and 1 year ago it was like just one gig because it was like special project, and we didn't know that it will be like record and tour. But after this one gig, audience, it was like for them it was like really great show and etc. We have a standing ovation, and Ralph, so singer, decided that okay, it will be great project. We will record everything in the recording studio, and then we will plan a tour.
Wow.
So basically, what happened? Yeah.
How many members are in that band?
6.
Six. So rhythm section, how many people are singing? Do you sing? Also, another
Yeah,
question.
everyone is singing.
So
It's
you
kind of like interesting. Yeah.
yeah, so you sing harmony and backup?
Yeah, exactly. So basically, I'm playing on drums, and I also sing at the same time.
Okay,
Yeah.
so when did that start? Did you start singing at a young age, or Is this something new for you? How did that evolve?
Oh, when I was younger, I was great at singing because
Ah,
my mom is also a great singer. She's not like professional musician, but when she was younger, everyone from her house was singing and etc. My mom played on accordion, so
mm,
always music was like around house and etc. So also I was singing great and etc. So I had few private lessons and etc. And I didn't think that in the future it will be great also for drums. That somebody decided that need also vocals, extra vocals to project. But playing on drums and singing at the same time is not easy.
no.
It's so hard sometimes, because I'm focusing on drums and I have to sing harmony. I have to be on time and singing well, etc. It was hard. The beginning it was like terrible, but right now is I'm feeling comfortable.
Okay. So
Also, it yeah,
that's such a good skill though to have because
yeah,
there's a lot of bands where, if you can sing, they're looking for everyone to sing harmony.
yeah,
I had Rodney Howard on the show recently. I don't know if you know Rodney, but
yeah.
so he was playing with Avril Lavigne, and
Mhm.
before he got the gig, he figured he would go in and he learned her background vocals because he could sing,
Mm.
and they were definitely impressed with that. But it
Mhm.
turned out that there was enough people singing in the band that they let him just play because it's a
Okay,
high energy,
yeah,
sort of
yeah,
skater punk pop band, so,
yeah,
but, it's still something that gets considered, when you
yeah.
go to audition for something or if you're being considered for something. So it's a great skill to have. I myself cannot imagine doing it because I am not a singer, but, props to you for being able to do it. And
Thanks.
did you have to practice that skill a bunch to get ready for the tour with Ralph, or how did you work that out?
I had a private lessons, a few, because normally I'm singing. I'm alto,
Okay.
and during this project, I'm singing soprano.
Oh wow.
So I have to had a private lessons and working on my voice and etc. To sing this kind of parts. Um, and after a few lessons, because it's important to have like always to have a great teacher
Yeah.
and to have great connection with them and etc. But I was lucky to, to found this kind of great teacher for me, and then it was like, to be honest, something natural. I didn't practice like singing, and I didn't practice on drums. I was practicing both at the same time.
Okay.
So I was playing on drums and I was also singing. Yeah.
Does this band have vocal rehearsals where you specifically are just all working on harmonies together, or
No, no,
no? Wow.
no. We had only rehearsals with whole band, but we just playing all songs from the list. So we
Wow.
didn't have others rehearsal just for vocals and then just for playing on instruments.
Got it.
It was at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. By the way, my mom is here, and she says, checking in, a lot of fun, and wishing you the best of luck, Victoria. So that's very
Thank
nice.
you.
So
Nice to meet
mom
you.
made it. All right.
Have a nice day.
And remember, anybody that has any questions, definitely put them in the chat. I'll keep checking the chat window as we go along. So your story, it's pretty interesting. Like I was, every once in a while, I'll have somebody on that started at a very young age, like 5 or 6 years old, playing, and
Yeah.
we'll kind of talk about that first gig. Like for me, it was my first gig was really playing with a little trio at a nursing home, like for
Wow.
for older folks, and but I was only like 11 or 12, years old, like playing, playing TV show themes for the
Yeah.
old folks at the home. And then, as a teenager playing the clubs and doing that kind
Sure.
of scene. So you did a different thing where you were really studying all this classical percussion. You could have almost went the classical route and wound up playing in an orchestra, right? With those
Yeah.
kind of skills, timpani, marimba, snare drum, So did you ever, but you didn't have that aspiration, right, to play orchestral music?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It wasn't my direction, I think,
Yeah.
because it was always my dream to play on drums and play a song
Yeah.
on drums.
But,
Yeah.
having those skills, and you do some of this in your videos where you're creating um, soundscapes with different instruments and stuff. You really could probably, if you wanted to, have some fun with maybe a looper and lay down like a bass part on a marimba and then jump on the drum set and play along with that and then add other things. There's you have the skills to
Yeah,
like create
sure.
in the moment, right? So
I don't know if I still remember how to play on marimba because it's like 4 years I didn't play on this kind of instruments.
wow.
I don't know if I still remember,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
who knows? Maybe one day I would try. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So one thing I wanted to get into, and this is sort of my list of questions that I have
Okay.
for every interview,
Wow.
and I want to go through like some drummers, some
Sure.
some of them are rapid fire. We already talked about, by the way, the most important thing: tea or coffee, and you drink tea, right? So
Yeah.
mostly, do you drink any coffee or no coffee?
Oh no, coffee. No.
Nothing. Okay. I
Mhm.
I definitely I visit both sides. Yeah, I do the coffee and
Okay.
the tea.
I see.
But I do the coffee one in the morning and then I try to stay on my green tea throughout the day. Lately I've been breaking that rule cuz I have an
Chris.
espresso machine that's really nice.
Okay.
So I'm making the espresso during the day, but okay, so um I'm gonna mention. Oh, let me do this one. So the first drum you ever owned, was it
Mhm.
that drum set that you mentioned earlier? The first drum that you owned?
Oh no, it was like very cheap Mapex drums that my parents bought me. Yeah.
Okay, so early on it was cheap Mapex drums. Got it. Okay, and what was the first record? And I guess it wouldn't be a record; it wouldn't be vinyl. But what's the first album that you bought on your own, where you were
Okay.
discovering music?
Hmm.
I guess
I
you
think
downloaded it.
yeah. I think it was like the Boys to Men.
Really? Oh wow.
Yeah, I have like a small cassette. It wasn't like vinyl, it was like cassette.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
So you the
exactly.
Boys to Men cassette. All right.
Exactly.
See, a
Mm,
lot of people probably didn't know that about you.
yeah,
What about the first concert that you ever attended? Um, any kind of music. First
sure.
concert.
I think it was in Poland, and it was concert by Michael Bublé.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow. So you,
yeah, it was one of my first concert that I saw. It was like a big stadium in Poland, and I saw this kind of like professional, performance,
yeah,
musicians and etc. And I'm a huge fan of Michael Bublé, so it was like great day for me.
he's a great singer and he's a great entertainer.
Yeah,
Um, and he's kind of funny. Like he's funny. I
yeah,
mean,
it is true.
in the
Yeah, I saw
interviews.
a lot of his videos, and yeah, he's funny, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that helps. I'm a big fan of humor and comedy, so that's
Huh.
that's always helpful. So first drum hero. Who is your first like drum hero where you went, man,
Mm,
that drummer, you know?
yeah, I think it was like Bernard Purdy
Oh
because I
wow.
heard his Purdy shuffle, and it was like, wow, he's so incredible. He's feeling and etc. And it was always funny for me because he was like laughing and singing and etc. during playing on drums. So for me, it was like, wow, he is awesome. He's
Yeah.
awesome guy and drummer.
He's first of all, he's a sweetheart of a person.
Mm,
Very, very nice. If you live in New York, you probably have run into him.
okay.
I've had the great fortune of at least playing at the same club on the same night as him. So being able to, he was
Wow.
backstage, I was backstage, his band played, then my band went up and played. So, and I also bumped into him at the Union Hall at the 802 Music Union. So I've seen Bernard around New York a bunch. We've run into each other. Hopefully, he's going to be on my show soon. But
Wow.
he is definitely one of those drummers that there is no denying when you hear what he's brought to the table, that he's an
Mhm.
innovator, just unbelievably unmatched in his feel, right? So Bernard, that's a good first drum hero, by the way. Really, really
Yeah.
good. Yeah, yeah.
It's my big dreams to meet one day Bernard. Yeah.
You'll meet Bernard. I'm sure it'll happen. He's a sweetheart of a person. So if you're in New
Yeah.
York, you got to reach out to him.
Hey,
um,
I
so
will remember.
what about your first gig? We kind of talked about your first gig
Yeah.
was really with Ralph and Cora, or was this pre-Cora, or was this the Cora?
Yeah, this is Sakura.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Is that's the name of the band, right? Cora.
Yeah, exactly.
What is
Yeah.
this? What does this mean? Is there a meaning behind it or no?
No, no, it was like this kind of like nickname of the main vocalist of this band.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right, cool. What about the weirdest gig you've ever had? Is there any
Hmm.
night or worst or weirdest, like where maybe things just didn't go right?
Yeah, it was kind of like one gig. It was so cold. It
Yeah.
was like winter in Poland. It was like freezing and etc. And I was like playing drums, and it was so cold. And the one thing in my head, it was like, I really want to go to home.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Was this an outside
yeah,
show?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I know. It's really hard when you're playing outdoors and
Yeah,
and it's so cold and your hands are starting to get so tight and red, right? Oh my goodness. Yeah, yeah,
you
that's hard.
totally understand me. Yeah, it was
And
this kind of situation.
in Poland, how cold does it get during the winters?
Oh, we have a different name of temperature.
Oh yeah, that's
So
right. It would
the
be
coldest is like minus 10 Celsius,
right.
something like this. So it's not cold like in USA, believe me.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been really cold here lately.
Yeah.
You could see on my walks on the beach in the morning on Instagram. Let's see. Your best gig, your favorite, maybe favorite venue, or your best gig that you've had where you were like, man, that night was just so great.
Sure. I think it was like in Warsaw, so the capital of
Yeah,
Poland, and it was at the theater. So this kind of like big hall, and it was like also sold out concert,
nice.
and the energy was great. We have also we were so happy because it was like standing ovation, and we feel this kind of like connection with people, and sometimes they crying and etc. because of the emotions of songs and
Oh, wow.
etc. So we really feel connection to the audience. So I think it was one of my favorite gig. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Um, how about how did you get this gig, by the way? Did you audition for Ralph?
To be honest, in Poland, we don't have a lot of like audition
Okay.
to being a part of band. I don't know, for example, what kind of situation is in the USA, because maybe sometimes for this kind of like popular artists, they called the best musician maybe,
Yeah.
and etc. I don't know, because I think it's hard to for example, for me, it's hard to find audition in USA or in England. I think I need like connection to somebody who will help me to to get this kind of audition.
Yeah.
In Poland, we have like zero audition. It's all about connection. Maybe you are a friend of this artist, or you are a friend of bassist of this artist and etc. And he will call you and etc. et said to artists like, oh, she is great drummer, try her, for
Yeah, yeah,
example. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So it's kind of like this situation. Or maybe sometimes they find you on social media and etc., but we don't have like auditions
Yeah.
in Poland. So for this project it was like, this artist had a different female drummer,
Oh,
but he didn't have time to to once again being a part of this kind of like huge project, because she has a lot of bands. So she called me and she asked me like, Victoria, you want to be a part of it, and etc. And I said, yeah, if I can help, absolutely, it will be also for me great challenge, adventure, and etc. So this, it was like stories.
so did they
But
send you the
like,
right? I'm sorry. So did they send you the music then, and you just had to learn all the tunes and then just go do the
oh,
show?
we had like proposition from artists, because it's like this project is kind of like special because we are playing like covers,
Right.
but with new arrangements. And Ralph sent us only songs, and we met during rehearsals, and we working from zero
Yeah.
on songs, like new arrangements, new ideas, and etc. Yeah.
What's one song popular? Like, what's one the most popular songs in your set list?
Always called in Polish Biegnij razem ze mną. And during this song, Ralph is walking through audience,
Oh
and
wow.
sometimes he's looking close to your eyes or close to you, and etc. And he's singing so close to the audience,
Oh wow.
and they are like always screaming and etc. because he's so close to them. Yeah.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. So, what is one record that you listen to now, or one group or record that might surprise people that you like?
Right now I'm listening to this kind of, for me, is new artist. Is it's called Sam Fender. He's from England and he won British awards.
Oh,
It's kind of, for me, new artist, and this kind he's really popular in England. I also am listen to Little Sims.
yep,
He's a great rapper,
yeah.
and also from England and etc. So, and also this kind of like band Parcels. It's kind of like funky and etc. But also still like this kind of like old school and great records like All Green, for example, right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. What is your pre-show routine?
It will be funny, but makeup, a lot of makeup. I have to prepare my hair because I have to have curly hair because of this show. So
Yeah.
I spend like hour or maybe more, to preparing my uniform and look and etc.
Wow.
But also I'm trying to listen to different music, to trying to relax and etc. Yeah, focusing on my breathing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Huh. Breathing like for vocals, or breathing like mindful breathing?
Yeah, that's the second option.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm very, very into mindfulness and breathing and meditation.
Oh
Um,
wow.
so I spend a lot of time these days doing this. Yeah. A lot of mindful
Yeah,
breathing. Yeah.
I think it's so important.
Yeah.
I also practice yoga,
Oh, okay, cool.
and I observe that when I'm breathing and I'm practicing breathing is also different when I'm playing on drums, because sometimes when I'm when I was in stressful situation on, or it was like huge or important gig, I was so stressful and my breathing was so fast.
Yeah.
And I observed that sometimes I play too fast, and because of my breathing. So I think it's also to focus more on this kind of like practicing your breathing and etc.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but I think we have to be mature for this kind of topic.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think it's what's interesting is,
Yeah,
you can really slow your heart rate down by
yeah,
slowing your breathing. So this even just practicing that, will have those effects for you on stage where you'll
yeah,
get more relaxed and you'll get, in the moment.
absolutely.
So yeah,
It's
that's
so
great.
important.
Yeah, super important. And it raises, I think, your level of concentration and awareness at the same time. So I'm all
Yeah.
about that these days. Um, cool.
Yeah.
So check this out. I have, um, oh, I'll get to the drummers in a second. Wait, I have a couple more. So,
Okay.
who inspires you besides Ash? Because we know Ash is a big inspiration at the moment. But who inspires you now besides Ash? Doesn't have to be a drummer, but who's really an inspiration for you right now?
To be honest, a lot of like bass player or
Oh,
guitar player. For example, like very famous funky guitar player. His name is Cory Wong. I
cool.
really love his playing and his timing and his feeling is something unique for me, and I'm listening to his records and etc. But one of the biggest inspiration for me is Pino Palladino.
I was just about to mention him. That's so
Yeah.
funny that you said that. Yeah. In fact, my bass player from my group, One Block East, we just had a record come out, and he
Okay.
texted me this morning, and he said that he just saw Steve Ferroni and Pino Palladino playing together.
With
And
John Mayer.
yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah.
man, my camera just went off. Back to you. There we go. Um, but
Mhm.
but yeah, they just saw the show, and they said that Pino's playing was just unbelievable.
Um,
Um, okay.
it's so incredible. Yeah, I read a lot of about Pino, and I think he started when he was 17.
Yeah.
So
Sounds right.
he didn't start at 5 or 4. He was 17. But his feeling and his groove is something unique.
Yeah.
It's hard to copy. You know.
Yeah, yeah. There's
Yeah.
so much nuance in his playing.
Yeah, but interestingly, his son Rocco Palladino,
Yeah.
he has the same sounds and feeling, yeah, and
Yeah, yeah,
timing.
yeah. That's true. That's
He,
true.
he's awesome. He plays with Tom Misch and Joseph Days. This awesome drummer.
Yeah.
Yeah, his playing is like Pino Palladino.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, crazy. No relation, but our sax
yeah.
player from One Block East is Russ Palladino, but they're not related that I know of. Um, so we already went through coffee or tea, which is good. I'm gonna come back to these things. So drummers. So I want to mention some drummers, and I just want
Yeah.
your like first reaction. So it doesn't have to be um, a long explanation. It can just be one word sometimes, which is fun. But how do you react to certain drummers? And if you don't know who they are, which I can't imagine because I think most of the ones on this list are all huge. But Ash is on my list, by the way. Um,
Ah,
but you know, just your gut reaction, your first reaction. So the first one on my list, and let's see. So, and I know some of these might not be the style that you're really going for at the moment. So just, whatever you feel, you can say. So oh, you know what? I'm going to go way back. Let's just go back to early groove playing John Bonham.
oh,
Simple.
wow. I said legendary drummer and unique, and also hard to copy because he's the one. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. He kind of set some things in motion that,
yeah,
no one will ever sound like him, I don't think.
absolutely.
Um, what about somebody like Ringo?
Mm. I think he's like very mature drummer, because I will say more because I think it will be great also to hear that I heard this interview with Ringo, and he was like, I'm playing always for songs, and I'm playing only feels when singers stop singing. So it's great. I think he's really mature drummer because he knows that the singer is the most important part of song. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. By the way, I
And
just wanted to mention that Dom was here. I don't know if you're still here,
oh,
Dom, but Dom says Victoria's amazing. Playing with her for the MD Festival was exciting,
yeah,
which I was a part of the recording aspect of
yeah,
that.
sure.
I wanted to stop by for a minute and say hi. So Dom was here. Wait, let's play the Dom. Let's play the Dom sound clip once again. Dom, this is the drunk Dom sound clip because I slowed down your voice. So here's your voice, Dom. You ready?
I don't know. I play the drums. I like Italian food. I like to fish.
That's taken from Dom's
So
book, The Cycle of Self
I know.
Empowerment. Yes.
Hope always well. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so Dom, thanks for hanging out. Good to see you. I owe you a phone call,
Absolutely.
Dom, so I'll be calling you. I have to get
Awesome.
out to Dom's place. So let's see. Steve Ferroni, we just talked about.
Mm-hmm. Steve Ferrani, I would say like Groove Master.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Isn't it
Yeah.
amazing how, like, you know, he could play 2 and 4 all night, 1 and 3,
Yeah.
2 and 4, eighth notes on the hat, and it'll just feel amazing. Like,
Yeah.
and he's another guy. He's playing for the song, but he can
Exactly.
bring it when he needs to bring it. He can bring it, right?
Absolutely.
Did you see his clinic? This
No, unfortunately, no, because I was like flying to New York City and back to Poland. Yeah,
Oh
and I
man.
was so sad because I didn't see his clinic, but I just saw videos on social media. But it's different to to see live. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And he was pretty funny, but his clinic was really good.
Uh,
So by the way, when you stopped in New York, did you get pizza or no?
yeah,
You did?
absolutely. $1 pizza. It was perfect.
I,
Yeah.
I have to tell you that, and I bring this up almost every single podcast. So I always say to, especially New York drummers, I'm like, hey man, what's your favorite pizza in New York? And everybody has a different opinion.
Yeah.
And a lot
Okay.
of times it's Ray's. For me, Ray's original pizza in New York was like a big
Okay.
thing. And it actually gets mentioned in the movie Elf. Did you see the movie Elf?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they talk about Ray's in Elf, by the way. But I always say dollar pizza because it's a dollar, first of all. It's so cheap. But because it's a dollar, I think that they move the pizza fast. It's like always
Yeah.
more pizza coming out, right? So it's always really fresh.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
That's the
So
point.
dollar pizza, I survived on that when I was doing a lot of rehearsing and playing in the music building on 38th Street in Manhattan. And so across the street was Dollar Pizza. We were in there all the time. Um,
Awesome.
See, very important questions. Pizza, tea.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about Tony Williams?
I would say very unique phrasing and
Yeah,
voice on drums. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Actually, when we wrap up, you have to make sure you send me your shipping address because
Okay.
I'm going to send you my book.
Wow.
Which in this book I have some transcriptions of some Tony playing.
Aw-
So some of it's a fill library, right?
Awesome.
But it's 165 pages of fills. But there are some of our favorite drummers, you and I, they're in here. So I have to send you my
Awesome.
book. Shameless
Thank you so much.
plug. All right. What about Michael Walden, Narada Michael Walden? Familiar or not familiar?
To be honest, not familiar. I heard this name, but to be honest, I'm not take into.
Okay.
But definitely, I check.
Yeah,
Yeah.
look him up. And I became aware of Michael Walden on the Mahavishnu Orchestra stuff, which was
Okay.
early Prague, right? Which Billy Cobham was the
Mm,
original drummer.
yeah.
And then there's a record called Visions of the Emerald Beyond, and
Okay.
Michael Walden played on that record, and that was the first Mahavishnu with him. And the first track,
Sure.
it starts with some strings, and then when
Okay.
he kicks in with like a little drum solo,
Hmm.
oh man,
Sounds interesting.
jaw drop.
Oh,
Your jaw will hit the floor. Yeah, really, really cool. What about
I was,
David Garibaldi?
oh wow.
And be nice, he's my friend. Yeah,
Wow. It's again like legendary drummer, also like groove master,
yeah,
and his sounds is also like unique. Yeah.
totally unique.
And
Uh,
his personality is also like incredible, you know?
did you meet him at PASIC when you were there?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
At the bar.
good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, at the bar. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. But
yeah,
I was shocked because I watched a lot of interview with David Garibaldi, and he was like so energetic person and etc. And when I met him, he was like maybe it was like busy day or something like this, but it was like hi Victoria, yeah, etc. It was like small talk.
yeah, yeah.
Think he was like tired, and I was like, I felt like small child, and I was like, oh my god, this is like David Garibaldi, hi, and etc. So I think I was like a little bit too energetic for him that day. Yeah,
Yeah, well, PASIC, the travel
yeah,
and the
it's
pace
true.
of PASIC is pretty intense. And so I don't know what night you saw him, but and his clinic, by the way, was great. I think you were way he was the last performer, so of the
Yeah,
clinics. But his clinic was great, and he's such an innovator. And
yeah,
I hope
it's
that eventually you have a chance to speak with him again. But he's really is for us drummers um, a unique voice and changed the face of drumming 100%. For sure. Um, what about Steve Gadd?
ah another great cat.
Yeah,
I think I said like master of records because
yeah.
he played on a lot of records, and I think he's one of the top of the list. Like he played on many records. It's hard for also for I heard like for him it's hard to count because he played on many records. So
Oh yeah. His discography
yeah,
is. I mean,
it's
there are other artists, but his discography is organized by decades,
yeah,
and so 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and
yeah,
still more records that he's playing on, which I love
yeah,
that he's still playing at a high level. And
yeah.
only a couple of years ago, I had seen him, rest in peace, Chick Corea, but I had seen him at the Blue Note in New York City with Chick Corea, and he was playing unbelievable. So thank God we still have guys like
Absolutely.
Steve Gadd around. And I tell everybody all the time, I know we're finally sort of coming out of the pandemic, but if you have a chance to see these guys play, go see
Live.
them. Go see them now because
Yeah.
we're not going to have these guys forever,
Yeah.
and nothing
It's
is permanent. So go see them immediately. Thank you.
yeah. Great.
Okay. So
Yeah.
what about Simon Phillips?
Mm. Also great drummer. I always said very unique way of tuning drums
Yeah,
because yeah,
true.
yeah.
Yeah, and
I
his
saw a
approach.
lot of his videos, and it was like for me it was like wow, this is like interestingly, he was like jumping on drums and etc. So
Yeah, yeah. He's
yeah.
he's a great player, and his groove and his pocket is really amazing. Listening to obviously Jeff Porcaro,
Oh,
and Toto,
yeah.
amazing. And if
Rohan.
anybody was going to have that drum seat, I think that Simon was a great fit for that band. So the
Mhm.
later Toto stuff with Simon is really quite amazing.
Yeah,
And
it's
he's
true.
another very unique voice on the drums for sure.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Jeff Porcaro.
Totally agree with you.
While we're at it, what about Jeff? Jeff Porcaro.
Oh, Jeff. is also one of my favorite drummers. This kind of like shuffle
Yeah.
thing, halftime shuffle. Oh come on, it's kind of like it's incredible. When I heard Rosanna, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
It's also like this kind of like unique voice. It's hard to copy, and it's hard to have this kind of like specific feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, interesting. That's another one that Ash really studied,
yeah.
Jeff. And really, that the shuffle that he's playing, he gives a nod to Jeff on that shuffle on Seal 7,
Yeah,
on Red Sector 9.
yeah,
That
I
shuffle
know
that
this
he,
reference.
oh
Yeah,
man, what a great track. And
yeah.
such a,
Red Zone Killer, it's called. Yeah,
oh, Red Zone Killer. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. So great.
yeah.
I wrote a long lesson called The Shuffle Evolution, which I'm
Hmm.
thinking of turning into a book. And it's sort of the evolution from, and Daniel Glass did an incredible study on shuffles, but this is more about the kind of the development of the groove through how ghost notes start to sneak in, and how the shuffle started to change. So Red
Yeah.
Zone Killer is one of the ones that I put in that shuffle evolution. Yeah, so
Yeah.
really
It
amazing.
sounds great. Definitely, if you uh, will write this kind of book, I will order. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's really fun. And I kind of went from early blues shuffles and
yeah.
before that even into some shuffles that are not technically shuffles, but they fit into that triplet mold. Like even pop songs like Everybody Wants to Rule the World,
Yeah.
Tears for Fears, and you have that
Mm-hmm.
quarter note triplet. Oh, there goes my camera. Quarter note triplet hi-hat pattern, right? Um, Bring in the camera back. Hold on one second.
Sure.
Everybody has to just see you. Aw.
Hi.
um, so, but yeah, I think it's an interesting study, and I did about 2 dozen shuffles in
Yeah.
there so far.
Wow.
A lot of different ones and different snare drum technique to make them happen. Different approaches. So, okay, just a couple more. So we got let's see, let's do James Gadson while we're at it, who is also on
Mm-hmm.
the show.
Yeah. I would say simplicity,
Yeah.
but with great, sense of groove and etc. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of simplicity and shuffles in the same sentence, uh, Donald Fagen's Nightfly album.
Oh, it's
So,
great.
yeah, yeah. So he's playing that shuffle on that record, and it's so super simple, but so tasty and well placed. Unbelievable.
Yeah,
So there's another one for the shuffle, and that's in my
absolutely.
shuffle book, by the way. All right. How about Annika? Annika Niles.
Hmm. I think it's kind of like new kind of voice and this kind of like odd time grooves.
Yeah.
It's kind of like unique for him, like playing in five, playing in seven, playing in 15.
Yeah.
It's kind of like great for her, and I really love it. Yeah,
Yeah, I love that she's bringing some of those groupings into
yeah,
contemporary playing in a different way, and
exactly.
and she's really thought about it. I actually wrote again something fives and nines little books many years ago that I was
Oh,
trying to kind of explore that in grooves, and she's really taken it and run with it. So it's really unique. Um,
awesome.
Nice. Well, those are. I mean, there's. I have like 50 drummers on this list, but we'll stop with those guys. And how can we um continue to follow you and support what you do? So I know I have your links, by the way, in the description of this video. So I put in your social links. I put your
Awesome.
website. How else can people find you, support you? Um, what else can we do?
Sure. I think the main thing, if you want, guys, is like social media. Just follow, because I'm trying to find new sounds and playing different styles, and trying to be more brave about being a female drummer and etc. So basically, I think social media, yeah, if you want, it will be awesome to hang out there. And yeah,
That's great. Yeah. And so so Facebook, you have a page. Instagram is
yeah,
probably where you're most busy. Yeah.
exactly.
What about
Yeah.
TikTok? Are you doing any TikTok?
I have an account on TikTok. Sometimes I add some videos, but sometimes I really forget to
Yeah.
add on TikTok. But I'm trying to be more to add more stuff on TikTok. Yeah,
I think it's
if you
probably a good idea. I have a TikTok account that I don't do anything with, but Nate Morton, the drummer from The Voice, you know Nate? Um,
oh no,
yeah, he's from The Voice here in the States, and
okay,
he's a great drummer. He was on the show, super nice guy. We've become very friendly. He's been doing stuff on TikTok, and he's getting more people starting to follow. So there's not a lot of drummers on TikTok. So you have an opportunity for
yeah.
sure to kind of push that. So you will lead us on TikTok. You will be the new voice of TikTok for us. But what Nate does is Nate takes out a little drum kit and he
Okay,
sets it up in the street or in a parking lot or on the sidewalk somewhere, and he does these little 30-second clips.
okay.
It's pretty cool.
I have to follow him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nate Morton. Follow Nate Morton on TikTok.
Okay. Okay.
Um, so man, Victoria, I had such a fun time hanging out with you, getting to know you a little bit, and and understanding more about your story. And I'm really
Thanks.
excited to see what happens for you and what comes forward. If your band ever makes it to the States to play, Cora, that
Sure.
would be amazing.
Yeah.
How can we see Cora? Can we on YouTube? I suppose at the moment, can we see Cora performing?
To be honest, no, because it's like forbidden to record our show.
Oh,
So basically, yeah, it's only a record you
right,
can
right.
listen to, but all songs they are in Polish. But
That's okay.
uh, okay,
We can hear you playing though, right? So
yeah, it's true. It's kind of like different sounds of my drums. It's more like vintage
yeah,
because of this kind of project. Yeah,
nice,
if you want, yeah.
cool. So very, very cool. Thank you to everybody that came in today and hung out
Thank
with
you guys.
us. My students, my mom, Dom
Bye.
Famularo, Dave Clive, Murray Piper, and guys, remember that this is going to rebroadcast at 7 p.m. tonight on my regular show. So make sure you check out the rebroadcast. And Victoria, hopefully we do it again at some time,
Absolutely.
and hopefully we run
Absolutely.
into each other at PASIC or some drum
And
festival. So and pizza,
yeah,
absolutely. And
$1 pizza.
if you're in
Yeah,
New York, hit me up. If you're in New
absolutely.
York, I will definitely
I will
love to
let you
meet
know.
up. And yeah. So and Lucia just said thank you for everything. This was very inspirational.
Bye.
Absolutely
Thank
inspirational.
you. Thank you so much.
All right, everybody.
That's
We'll
very
see you
nice.
on the rebroadcast. And thanks to everybody for tuning in tonight. And we'll see you
Yeah.
guys
I,
real
also,
soon.
I would like to say thank you so much, guys, for for your attention and for watching. Thank you, Jim, for for having me. It was really nice. Yeah. Thank you for your mega energy. I really like you, and I really want to eat this kind of pizza. So in your
Nice.
in the future. So I hope it will be happening in the future. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Bye, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.